Imagine this. You're sitting across from someone you care about, maybe a friend, a family member, or a colleague. The air feels heavy, and every word seems sharp. Every sentence seems to push you further apart. Your heart races as you try to explain yourself to fix the tension, but it only gets worse. You want connection, but all you're getting is conflict. And then a voice cuts through the chaos, not loud, not angry, but calm and ancient. It's neither loud nor angry, but a serene voice. It's Confucius, the philosopher who mastered human relationships 2,500 years ago. He leans in and whispers something unsettling. You're doing it all wrong. What does he mean? You're trying to build a bridge, to mend the gap, to make things right. How could that be wrong? According to Confucius, the secret to great relationships isn't in what you say or even what you do. It's in how you are. He argues that true connection comes from 5 timeless principles that most people overlook. And here's the kicker. These principles don't just fix arguments, they transform every relationship in your life. So, what are these 5 principles? And why do they hold the key to stronger, deeper connections? Let's dive into Confucius's philosophy and uncover the ancient wisdom that still shapes how we connect today. This isn't just about relationships. It's about power, influence, and living a life surrounded by trust and respect. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll never approach a conversation the same way again. Before we get to Confucius's 5 principles, let's ask a tougher question. Why do relationships, whether with friends, family, or coworkers, fall apart in the first place? If you've ever felt misunderstood, betrayed, or just distant from someone, you know how painful it can be. Modern psychology backs up what Confucius knew centuries ago. Most relationship problems come from 3 core issues. We're wired to protect our pride. When someone disagrees with us or criticizes us, it feels like an attack on who we are. So we argue, we defend, we push back not to connect, but to win. Relationships crumble when trust erodes. A broken promise, a careless word, or even a misunderstanding can make us question someone's intentions. Without trust, every interaction feels like a minefield. Ever notice how some people just get you, while others feel like a constant struggle? Confucius would say it's because relationships thrive when values align and falter when they don't. Confucius saw these problems not as failures, but as opportunities. His philosophy, rooted in the ideas of humaneness and proper conduct, offers a roadmap to turn conflict into connection. His 5 principles for better relationships aren't just rules. They're a way of being that unlocks trust, respect, and harmony. Let's break them down. Picture this. You're in a heated discussion with a coworker. They're blaming you for a missed deadline, and you're ready to fire back with excuses. But then you pause. Instead of defending, you ask, "What's going on? Are you okay?" Suddenly, the mood shifts. They open up, and the argument dissolves. This is Confucius's first principle, humanness. Humanness is often translated as kindness, but it's more than that. It's about seeing the humanity in others and acting from a place of empathy. Confucius believed that every relationship begins with this question: how can I treat this person as a human, not an obstacle? Modern psychology shows that empathy reduces conflict. When you show genuine care, people lower their defenses. A 2019 study in emotion found that empathetic responses in arguments increase trust by 40%. Real life example. Think of Nelson Mandela. During South Africa's tense reconciliation process, he didn't demonize his opponents. Instead, he listened, showed respect, and treated them as humans with fears and hopes. This empathy built bridges where others saw only walls. Next time you're in a tense moment, pause and ask yourself, what's this person feeling right now? A simple gesture like acknowledging their stress can turn a fight into a conversation. Humanness isn't about being soft. It's about being strong enough to put connection over ego. But empathy alone isn't enough. That's where the second principle comes in. Principle 2, master conduct act with respect. Imagine you're at a family dinner. Your uncle starts ranting about politics, and you're tempted to shut him down. But instead, you nod, listen, and respond calmly even though you disagree. The table stays peaceful, and later he thanks you for not escalating. This is Confucius's principle of conduct. Conduct is about behaving with respect and appropriateness, no matter the situation. It's not about faking politeness, it's about creating an environment where trust can grow. Conduct aligns with social psychology's concept of norm reciprocity. When you act respectfully, others are more likely to mirror your behavior. A 2021 study in social psychology quarterly showed that respectful conduct in disagreements reduces hostility by 30%. Historical example. Consider Queen Elizabeth I. In a time of religious division, she navigated court politics with impeccable manners, never alienating allies or enemies. Her restraint built loyalty and kept England stable. Create personal rules for tough conversations. For example, never interrupt, always thank someone for sharing their view, or take a deep breath before responding. These small acts of conduct signal respect and keep conflicts from spiraling. Conduct is your armor in relationships. It protects you from chaos and builds trust. But trust needs more than manners. That's where the third principle steps in. Principle 3. Cultivate loyalty reliable. Think about a time someone let you down. A friend who canceled plans last minute, a colleague who missed a deadline. It stings, doesn't it? Now think of someone you trust completely. What makes them different? They show up. They keep their word. This is Confucius's principle of loyalty. Loyalty means being someone others can count on. Not just in big moments, but in the small, everyday promises that build trust over time. Reliability creates psychological safety. Google's Project Aristotle found that teams with high trust built on consistent actions outperform others by 20%. The same applies to personal relationships. Modern example, look at Oprah Winfrey. Her decades-long career is built on loyalty, showing up for her audience, guests, and causes with unwavering commitment. Her reliability made her a global beacon of trust. Start small. If you say you'll call a friend, do it. If you promise to help a coworker, follow through. Track your commitments for a week and see how many you keep. Consistency is loyalty in action. Loyalty turns acquaintances into allies, but even loyalty needs direction. That's where the fourth principle comes in. Principle 4. Embrace reciprocity, give what you'd want. Here's a scenario. Your friend is venting about a bad day, and you're tempted to give advice or change the subject. Instead, you listen and say, "I've been there. What do you need right now?" They feel heard, and your bond deepens. This is Confucius's principle of reciprocity. It's often summed up as, don't do to others what you don't want done to you. But it's more than avoiding harm. It's about actively giving what you'd hope to receive. Reciprocity is hardwired into human behavior. A 2020 study in Nature Communications found that reciprocal acts, like listening or helping, increase relationship satisfaction by 25%. Historical example, Abraham Lincoln embodied reciprocity. Despite political rivals attacking him, he invited them into his cabinet, treating them with the fairness he'd want. This reciprocity turned enemies into allies and unified a divided nation. Before acting, ask, would I want this done to me? If a friend needs support, give the attention you'd crave. If a colleague needs credit, share it as you'd hope they would. Reciprocity builds mutual respect. Reciprocity creates a cycle of goodwill, but the deepest connections need one final ingredient. Principle 5. Por su filial piety, honor your roots. Picture a family gathering where you take a moment to thank your parents for their sacrifices. Or maybe you mentor a younger sibling, passing on lessons you've learned. These acts strengthen not just family ties, but your sense of purpose. This is Confucius's principle of filial piety. Filial piety is about respecting those who came before you, parents, mentors, even your cultural heritage, and carrying their wisdom forward. Filial piety fosters gratitude, which psychology links to stronger relationships. A 2018 study in Journal of Positive Psychology found that gratitude increases relational trust by 15%. Modern example, LeBron James embodies filial piety. He honors his mother's struggles by building schools and programs for disadvantaged kids. This gratitude strengthens his community and legacy. Write a letter to someone who shaped you, a parent, teacher, or friend in. Thank them. Or share a lesson from your upbringing with someone younger. These acts of filial piety deepen your connections and ground you. Filial piety reminds us that relationships aren't just about the present, they're about the legacy we inherit and pass on. Why these principles matter today. Confucius's 5 principles: humanness, conduct, loyalty, reciprocity, and filial piety aren't just ancient rules. They're a blueprint for navigating today's chaotic world. In an age of online arguments, ghosting, and shallow connections, these principles cut through the noise. They teach us to build relationships that last, not just ones that feel good in the moment. But here's the challenge. These principles require effort. It's easier to snap back in an argument than to practice humanness. It's tempting to break a promise when you're busy, but loyalty demands consistency. And in a world obsessed with me, filial piety asks you to look back and give forward. So, let's try something. Think of one relationship in your life that could be stronger, maybe a strained friendship, a tense work dynamic, or a family rift. Which of Confucius's principles could you apply today? Pause this video, grab a pen, and write down one action you'll take. Maybe it's listening with humanness, keeping a promise with loyalty, or thanking someone with filial piety. Share your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Let's circle back to that tense moment we started with you. Sitting across from someone, words flying like arrows. Now imagine you're armed with Confucius's principles. Instead of fighting, you listen with empathy, humanness. You respond with respect and conduct. You show up consistently, loyalty. You treat them as you'd want to be treated, reciprocity, and honor the deeper values you share, filial piety. The argument doesn't just end, it transforms into something deeper, trust, respect, connection. Confucius understood something most of us forget. Relationships aren't about winning, they're about building. And the person who builds through empathy, respect, and loyalty holds the real power. Not the power to dominate, but the power to create harmony. So here's your challenge. The next time you're in a conversation, pause. Ask yourself, am I reacting or am I building? Choose one of Confucius's principles and put it into action. True connection isn't loud, it's deliberate. It's not about what you say, it's about who you are. Want more insights on philosophy, psychology, and the art of living well? Hit subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a deep dive into the ideas that shape our lives. Stay connected, stay wise, and let's build relationships that last.